Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Fuel for Success on this wonderful Thursday. Well, it's a little bit rainy here, but I love rain, so that's all cool. This is our 92nd episode, and today is Thursday. And just like every Thursday, we talk about business development, entrepreneurship, and all things related to that. 92 episodes, I can't believe it, Matt, and we have broken well over our 50,000 view mark on Fuel for Success, so I'm stoked about that.
Hello to all the 50,000 plus people. Thank you for every single one of you that ever took a moment of your time to watch this. It's not raining here. I already went swimming today. It's beautiful. Sorry to hear it's raining, but I'm also more sorry to hear that you love rain. Can you maybe share how you developed a love for rain, my friend?
Well, so just to be clear, I also love snow and sunshine and windy days. I just love life.
You
I,
just
you
I
know, I
thought
love weather.
flat love life, you know? I'm impressed of that, my friend. Is it really episode 92? Well, today we have a very, very special treat. We have one of my favorite people in the world, who is a young entrepreneur. We're going to be interviewing him in a few minutes. Just a first class guy from California. We're Twitter friends. We've been buddies for quite some time, and I love watching his tweets because he's just a hustler. He's a go-getter, and that's exactly the way you need to be when it comes to business and entrepreneurship. So, Mike, suppose an entrepreneur was to come to you and tell you that they wanted to start a business or they were starting a business and they were only going to work about 6 to 8 hours a day. What would you tell them?
Uh, you know what? Something happened with my audio there for a second. Can you ask me the question again?
Let's say let's suppose some young entrepreneur was starting a business and they told you they were only going to work about 6 to 8 hours a day. What would you tell them, my friend?
Oh, I'd probably tell them to get a job because that ain't gonna work.
I'd say, you know what? I know where the unemployment office is. You're going to need to know where it is to fill out your paperwork. It's all
Yeah,
about
you're
the
gonna
sweat.
have to triple that.
So tell me this, Mike. Um, are you excited about Mission 25 Philadelphia coming up next week?
I am. And we keep getting our people that are coordinating that, and just the all the stuff that's happening there is very exciting, and doors are opening for us. So I think it's going to be an amazing mission trip in Philadelphia, and so yeah, I'm totally excited. I'm stoked.
Yeah,
I can't
I
wait to
mean, it
get
really
there.
is. Think about all the cool things that are happening. We're going to that teen center that's got 55 homeless teens living there. We are going to do the homeless, which we love. And it's cool to see the way that like Urban Cafe and Starbucks is working
Right.
with us. People are really starting to hear the buzz of what's happening with Mission 25 and then want to jump on board. And I'm all about it. I'm all about networking with whoever wants to go do what we should be doing as a lifestyle. Probably the number one message that we teach at Mission 25 is it's not a conference and it's not an event. Like Mission 25 is a lifestyle for us, for everyone that's in the Mission 25 movement. I'm excited, Mike. Speaking of entrepreneurship, there are so many people that are starting local Mission 25s and just extremely pumped about the future of Mission 25. Now, I'm going to throw something wild. Is Nate ready by chance? I don't see him in the
Yeah,
queue.
he's ready.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
let's
ready whenever we are.
Nate, let's bring him on, man. But while we're getting ready to bring him on, Mike, I got to throw something out there for you. And I know
Sure.
Nate's going to tie right into this. You had sent me something yesterday, an email that was quite inspiring. It was like the top 10 things that you want to do before the end of 2014. It was the big dream sheet. It was
Big
yeah,
stuff.
there it is. I believe in that. I believe that one of the biggest problems that people have is they don't have a big enough vision. Like last night, when I sat down and really looked at all that we're attempting to do, I got a little nervous in a good way. It was like an adrenaline. I was like, wow, like A, I'm going to need God's help to do all this. And B,
Right.
this is insane. And when I read your list, I just got the biggest smile, and I was like, you know, that's my boy right there. Explain the importance, in your opinion, of people having a dream and having big goals. Most people, they shoot so small. When they're, because everybody wants to talk about practical. I'm sick of practical. I'm sick of
Come on.
realistic. I don't even like to use those words. I hate when people say, well, let's think realistic here. You know what? Nobody that changed the world thought realistic, my friends. It's
Right.
not realistic that you can walk into a room and flip a switch and light comes on. There's nothing realistic about that. But, anyways, it's not realistic that, yeah, absolutely. This is definitely not realistic. So, I just think that a lot of times, Mike, people get stuck in small thinking. So,
Yeah.
explain what that did for your energy and your flow writing a big dream list like that.
Well, first of all, it gave me a little bit of focus. Second of all, I looked at it and I said, "Are you out of your mind?" And I went, "Yeah, pretty much. I'm out of my mind. Let's do this." Um, but I like what you said is that I realized that without God's help, it's not going to happen, and I realized the role that He has to have in it, and so that to me, like yesterday, I read Psalm 91. The first couple verses of that, it totally plays into that, and we God can accomplish so much in 3 seconds that we can't even imagine. But at the same time, it's like God takes our effort and multiplies it. So I gotta bust my butt. Let me put it that way to get this stuff done.
You know what? That's the key. The key is, someone once said that if your vision doesn't scare you, then your God and your vision is too small. And I so believe that.
Right.
Well, speaking of vision, let's bring our boy Nate live. This is going to be a treat. I love this guy, Nate from California. I believe it's like 6:10
Six.
a.m. So major props to my boy for getting up early, which he probably already does. I don't know too many entrepreneurs, Mike, that are in bed past 7. If they're in bed past 7, half the day's over. Like,
Nate, are you with
how can
us? I
you
think you
be
may need to
so
switch your camera over.
Okay.
Oh, what happened? Oh, you're setting him
I think
up?
you may.
Okay. While you're setting him up, a lot of times entrepreneurs, I knew a businessman that I'd done some coaching with who was having a hard time being productive. And so I immediately started talking to him about time management and where he was investing his time, right? And so I come to find out he wasn't getting into work till like, or he wasn't even waking up till like 9:30 in the morning. And I said, listen, I said, there's just no way. Like, the average highly successful person, whether it's an athlete, a musician, an actor, a businessman, most of them are awake by 5. In fact, most highly successful people are morning people. And there's a reason for that. It's not that you can't be successful, so don't misunderstand. It's not that you can't be successful if you sleep till 9. It's just it's a rarity. It's extremely rare that one could be successful sleeping that late, because of the type of mojo and energy that you need to have. And it's a proven fact that when you wake up early and you immediately attack your priorities, imagine this, okay? Let's think of the 3 most important priorities of our day. You ready? Prayer is number 1, no doubt. Second most important priority is exercise. Imagine if people could get those 2 things done first. Now, do you know, in my days that are so busy, what's up, Nate? How you
Hey,
doing
how's it
there,
going,
bud?
Matt? Good to see you. How you doing?
We got a still shot of him. Can you hear us, Mike?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I'm
can
getting it
hear you.
fine.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, I can hear you now. What's up? I had a little slow connection there, buddy.
Hey, it's
How's
good
it
to see you
going in
guys
your
as
world
well.
out there in California, bud?
Good, good. A little early, but ready to go. So,
I think Matt's got a little delay.
okay.
I've
Yeah,
got
you
a
guys.
delay, so I'm gonna sign out and come right back. Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Hey, Nate, while he's doing that, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of give us a little background on how you got started in business in just a few minutes?
Sure. Yeah. So I started at I'd say about 19 years old. I'm 25. I'll be 26 now. But I started at 19 years old. I applied for this. I was looking for jobs. I was out of high school and college, and um, I applied for this marketing firm. And I met this guy named John, and he is a true entrepreneur. And I went in his office, thought it was just a regular job interview, and he said, "Hey, I'm not really looking for someone that's looking for a job. I'm looking for an entrepreneur." And I thought that was interesting, and I knew a few guys in church I grew up with that were business owners, and so I saw their lifestyles and saw some good things, saw bad things, and so
Yeah.
this guy started coaching me and started doing marketing. And I worked with the AT&T Verizon. We outsourced sales, and so we did business to business sales. And I learned a lot from this guy. And so from there, I just kind of started reading books. Started my first business when I was 22 years old. Started a marketing firm, and then from there I started other ventures and got into investment banking. And so right now, as of 25, I own three businesses, and I just read a lot of books and hustle, and spent time with a lot of millionaires. I've interviewed them and learned good things about them as far as how they became millionaires. And so that's kind of my background. I would say more kind of tech, but also investments is where I'm at. And so that's kind of a little background of how I got into entrepreneurship and business.
Mike, I feel like I'm looking in the mirror at a younger version of us. I love this guy, and I'm telling you right now, this is why I want to have him on our show, and I want him to be a regular guest because there's so many things. I know we're not going to be able to get through it all in 20 minutes, but there's so many things I want to ask, and I want our viewers to hear
Yeah.
because I love the fact, and this is what I tell my son. Now, I believe my son's going to play Major League Baseball if he continues the path that he's on. But I said, listen, son, even if you don't, you can still be an unbelievably successful businessman. But I've been drilling in him, even as a 12-year-old kid, to think that way because I think one of the mistakes younger people make coming out of high school is that they don't go into business. Like Mike and I believe that everyone coming out of high school should like go into business because they have nothing to lose. Like, they have nothing but time. They don't have a husband or wife or kids. They have all this time and all this energy and all this. And I'm shocked that more people don't do it. So, first question I want to ask is tell me the top three things that this guy taught you because I love the story of you went in to get a job and you ended up meeting pretty much a mentor and a coach. What are some things you learned from
Mhm.
him?
The first thing I would say I learned from him is he had out of the box thinking. He never saw things ordinary. He refused to be in the ordinary. He hated things that were just, day to day, just normal. He hated that. He hated, people that were just happy about their life when they weren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And the second thing is he never had a poor mentality. He taught us, not to have a poor thinking. He was always just, a go-getter. I mean, he'd work 15, 16 hours a day. He had a family. He was 34 years old. And, he had moved up in the company, started a few other, ventures. And he was from Seattle, moved to Los Angeles area. And so the second thing I would say is he didn't have that poor thinking. And he diversified his investments. He just didn't do marketing. He did real estate. He did trading. He did franchising. He did everything. He owned a car wash. So, he just diversified his funds. He didn't think of one income that he can make. He had multiple streams of income. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is uh, he was all about personal growth. So he probably read thousands of books, and he, always recommended books. He was always reading. He said, I don't have cable, I don't have TV, I just read. And so basically, personal development. Just reading all the
Yeah.
time, and that's what I've learned is just, working on yourself daily, growing. Because if you're not growing, your business isn't going to grow. And so, just personal development, I would say, is one of the most important things. And owning a business and sustaining a business.
Mike, is this not refreshing? Like this guy's refreshing here. Nate, so what
Yeah, I
I'm
love it.
hearing, and this is what I believe, and this is what I want to teach people and people to get, is think about what you just shared about a guy that was highly successful. He was driven, he had high energy, he was passionate about growing, he was focused, he read books. And I love the multiple streams of income because I believe that's the key to wealth building. And you're right, most people just settle for like one source of income. I think you should, and I love the hustle of 15, 16 hours a day. Like God has given us the
Hmm.
gift of work. Everybody wants to cast on us this myth that you can become a workaholic. And I just don't know if that's possible if you keep your priorities right and if you have goals and what you're going to use your
Hmm.
wealth for. I just think we need to be careful, like assuming that because someone works 15, 16 hours a day, that they're a workaholic. Some of those people spend
Hmm.
great amount of time with their family and they spend quality time with their family. And I know that from Mike. I know that from me as a dad that I just like, I spend a lot of time with my son, but I was telling somebody yesterday, I don't waste time. So I love this. So is he still in your life? Do you guys still are you still connected, or tell me what happened?
Yeah, so he sold his marketing firm to a company that owns AT&T, and T, and so he's still in the business. He's doing a few other things. We talk. I moved up to Sacramento area, and so he is still in Orange County, but we still talk once in a while. I mean, this guy's just entrepreneur 100%, and we're good friends. Maybe we can get him on the show sometime. But
I'd
he's
love
just
to do
a
that.
he's a great guy and
Perfect.
someone
Try
that
to get him on this.
I've learned a lot from. So.
Nate, let me ask you this. Share a few books that you read in your early years of entrepreneurship that just really inspired you and really helped you, man.
Sure. First book I would say is Good to Great by Collins. It's a great book. I would say it's a book called Yourself that really kind of
What's it called?
find yourself in business. It's called Yourself.
Yourself? Okay.
Um, yes. And then another one is the $100 Startup. That's a great book as far as internet startup, as far as selling things online. Another book is The 4 Hour Work Week I recently read, which is an excellent book
How'd you like
about time management. And
how'd you like
I'm
the
sorry?
4 hour work week, man?
I loved it. There's things like I spend extra time on like emails and different things that you kind of could outsource or you can cut out once you kind of have autopilot and you can travel as more and still own a business and be successful and kind of take your computer with you if you do a lot of internet marketing and things like that.
So
So.
then, the 4 hour work week. What's like one thing that he did that you hadn't done that you now do that helped you? What is one thing you learned from there?
Well, I'm working on a with an investor on a e-commerce website right now, and one thing he said, and he recommended some websites, is outsourcing a lot of the things where you have more time to work on personal development, work on other aspects of the business. And so I'm looking into outsourcing a few things to kind of help the business run smoothly, and I have more time for myself. So.
Speaking of that, like I believe, and I know Mike feels the same way because we've talked about it on this show, a lot of people assume that reading or going to a seminar or having a coach is a waste of time and money, when in reality it's not. Like, give us your theory on that. Like, how often do you read? How often do you think an entrepreneur should be reading? What's your kind of flow with that?
I think an entrepreneur should read daily, and this is an interesting thing. I've over the years have been lucky enough, blessed enough to meet some millionaires, multimillionaires, and I've actually been to a few of their houses, mansions, and different things like that. And I'll tell you one interesting fact that I've learned from millionaires going to their house. They all have one thing in common when you go to their house. They have a library. And that's so interesting because they all read. They're all about personal development. They're all about, um, you know, feeding the brain every day on business entrepreneurship. Not even that, just reading about self-help books. So it's interesting. You never think so. They don't have time, but multimillionaires, they read.
In fact, I read a statistic, Nate,
That's good.
that says the average millionaire reads one book a week. The average American reads doesn't even read one book a year. I totally believe that what we become 5 years from now is determined by what we read and who we associate with. So what I love about you is I love the fact that you like to hang out with millionaires, you like to hang out with successful people, and you read. And that's why you're successful at the age of 26. And I think that's awesome, Nate,
Mm-hmm.
extremely inspiring. So let me ask you this. Of the millionaires that you've encountered, right? Share some of the questions you've asked them and what you've learned from them. What it like? Because I believe more is caught than taught. So when I get around a millionaire, I know how to ask the right questions, but I also catch so much more just by being around them, seeing their mannerisms, their spirit, their drive, how they conduct themselves, how they think. What are some things you've picked up by being around some of these highly successful people?
Yeah, definitely. And I was watching the show on Tuesday. You guys were talking about money and how that millionaire bought a jet and all that. Interesting. So, what I've learned being around millionaires, and I've learned this from you, is to pick their brain, ask the right questions. And so, every millionaire, that I'm around, I pick their brain. I think is an opportunity to learn because, I'm on my way to being one. And so, the first thing I learned is anytime they run into money or they create wealth, income, they don't look at it like I'm going on vacation, I'm going on a shopping spree. They look at I'm going to invest this money into something else. How can I make money off my money? So the first thing is they think of, what's the best way to make money off my money. I've noticed that. The second thing is most of the millionaires I've met and some multimillionaires are very, very frugal. There was a guy in the marketing firm. He was probably, I'd say, worth about $15 million, and he drove a Nissan Sentra. He bought his clothes at Kmart. He was very frugal with his money. He did go on vacation every year and he had a nice house, but he was just investing most of his money back into the market, back into other streams of income, growing his money. So most millions I met are pretty, I mean, in some ways they're lavish, I would say, their houses, stuff like that, but in other ways they're very, I would say, tight with money in some aspects.
Well, even like them being lavish in their houses, what we would consider lavish, which I know you don't, actually for them is a wise investment because they're not
Correct.
losing money there. They're losing money when they're going to Paris. Not really. I mean, memories. We all believe in balance and vacation and enjoying the fruit of your labor. But even like someone that maybe buys houses or has a really nice house, to them they look at it as an investment. Like you said, they're always taking their money and putting it in places that's going to make them more money. So great stuff.
Correct.
I could keep asking questions. Do you have any? I know our audience has been firing a few questions out there, and while you're pulling one out of the queue there, Mike, I want to throw one more at our friend Nate, because Nate, we're going to have you back. In fact, I'd love to have you back next Thursday for part two. Give you a little more time as well, because this has been awesome.
Sure.
Uh, so you
Sure.
recently get
My,
married? I saw
yeah.
you got engaged. Talk to me about this, my friend.
Yeah, I moved to Sacramento. I moved all my business up here about a year ago. I've been living up here, and I got engaged on Valentine's Day. So, been engaged for a few months now, and we're planning a wedding next May. So next year of
Congratulations, man.
2015.
How did you
Thank
know
you,
she was the
thank you.
one, bro? Because I mean, that one thing I know is like when you're in a high level business, like your woman can make or break you. So how did you know this is the one that can have that same mentality that you have and deal with this drive that you have and this killer work ethic that you're gonna have? How did you find this, my friend?
Yeah, sure. So I met her through mutual friends, and we have a lot of the goals and share a lot of the same background as we were raised in, and so we have a lot of the same history, as I can say, as far as background. And she's a hustler. She works at the hospital. She's works a lot of hours. She went to school. She's from Russia. She didn't know any English. Came here, got straight
Oh,
A's and learned English, and started from nothing. And she owns her own house. She's very successful in the medical field, and she's just her love for God is amazing, and I found a treasure, and from day one, I just kind of saw something I've never seen in a girl. So I'm blessed, and I thank God every day for her.
Nate, you are my boy, dude. You hear me? You are literally one of my. You are right, man. Mike, I've got about 6 minutes. I don't want to ignore any of our live viewers' questions. Nate, there'll literally be thousands of people watching this, and I appreciate you coming live with us today.
Awesome.
And like I said, this has been very inspiring for me, and I know it's been inspiring for some. I hope we have some younger high school, college students watching this and to take to heart
Yeah,
Sure.
things
and
that you're hearing from Nate. Mike,
yeah,
what do we have?
I mean,
Go
my
ahead.
advice too, before I forget, is as far as college and entrepreneurs and business, my view, and it's taken me a few years to kind of come up with this view, but my view is if you have something in mind, like you want to be an RN or you are a technician or engineer, then definitely go to college. If you want to be a business owner, an entrepreneur, I would say take your 50, 60,000 tuition a year and invest it into a business. I think that college, I have near an associates, and I took a lot of business classes, didn't learn anything. Started working for this marketing guy,
I
and
love
I
this
learned
guy.
more in a few months than I learned in 2 years in college. So I think that college and some of these professors that are in business, they've never actually owned a business. They don't know the concepts of business. You have to do it to know it. And so I think that as a young entrepreneur, people graduating from college, or I mean, I'm sorry, high school, I would definitely take some money and save, invest, and start out as starting a business.
Yeah, I totally agree
I
with that.
wish we could do high fives on here. Like
I
high
know.
five, Nate. Bish. Exactly.
Mike, is that our language or what right there? Like, you remember the other day
That's
when we were going over
exactly.
about college? Remember when we were like chomping at the bits to like really tell what we really think? Thank you, Nate, because what you just said, we totally believe a billion
Well,
percent.
and I
Yeah.
like the preface of if you're going into something like nursing, like medical, definitely there are areas of career that college is beneficial. But for the average person, that if you know what, I used to work for a company out on Yale on the Yale campus that was doing genetic research, and we would hire people that had doctorates and all kinds of stuff to do data entry because there
Hmm.
were literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that had non-specific college degrees and they couldn't get work anywhere, and they'd spent $70,000 on a college education. Didn't do them any good.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
But
Totally.
I'm going to segue real quick because and sort of use that to rephrase a question that Christy asked. She was asking about certain kind of people. Do you feel like everybody's cut out to be an entrepreneur, a business owner, or is it just certain people? What are your feelings on that?
You know, that's an interesting question. I think that some people are definitely just born with it. I mean, it's just in their blood as far as entrepreneurship and thinking. And I think other things it involves. I mean, if you have like a craft and you make different things, or you sew, or you can make a business out of that. Definitely. Um, I've noticed that most entrepreneurs, they're risk takers, and so if you are not a risk taker, you need to learn to be one, because business is all about risk taking and entrepreneurship. I can't tell you how many times I've taken risks, and sometimes I've been wrong, sometimes I've hit it big. And so I think in a way entrepreneurship, business, starting a business is cut out for quite a few, almost anyone, if they really want to and they have a craft or they have an idea. But also too, it's a lot of risks, and there's also a lot of reward. I know every entrepreneur and every book that I've read about millionaires, they've went through some hardships to get to where they're at.
Yeah.
I mean, even some of the
Mm,
ones on the top, like Donald Trump and Steve Wynn, some of the big ones, Walt Disney. I mean, they went through a lot to get to where they were. So there's a lot. It's not just all easy and let's start a business. There's a lot of hardship to it.
A lot of hardship, a lot of patience, a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice. I like what you said. There's a
Correct.
lot of millionaires that went broke, that literally went broke,
Hmm.
that lived in garages, lived in the back of their cars. I mean, even the great and mighty Tony Robbins once lived in his car. That's no joke. So
Hmm.
I think your point on right there. Maybe in our last 2 minutes, Nate, just share like one lesson or mistake that you made in business or lesson learned that really taught you a valuable lesson, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still young, so I haven't really, not a millionaire yet, so I don't know as far as the ins and out of a very, very successful business. I would say when you are getting funding for a business, I would definitely, uh, I wouldn't go to family, I wouldn't go to friends. My first mistake when I was starting an iPhone app was I went to some friends, and I had them invest in my company, and we did a contract, stuff like that. And the business, the app didn't go anywhere, and so there was hurt feelings, and I lost the friendship of that. So I would say when you're, I would say one of the big mistakes I've made in business is not going to angel investors. I was going to friends and stuff like that to get funding. Now, as far as the business I have now, I'm working with 9 investors for funding for this new project I'm doing, and it's been terrific. If they lose, they lose. If they win big, and they're not giving me a huge amount of money, so it's worked out a lot better as far as going through like an angel
that's
investor
good.
or even through a bank, I would say.
That's golden advice. Golden advice right there.
Hmm.
Mike, Any questions before we go? I know we're out of time, so we can hammer it back. Nate, are you by chance available next Thursday, my friend?
Yeah, I will be
We'd love to
definitely,
have you back.
absolutely. And I
Partnership.
love you guys. Watching you guys, I normally watch you guys before I go to bed. I'm all pumped up and archive you guys, and you guys are awesome. I love your guys' vision. I love Matt. I love his out of the box thinking, and he's a hustler. He's a hard worker, and hard work pays off. Opportunity looks a lot like hard work. So
Yeah.
That's right.
Hey, I'm humbled by that, Nate, and I appreciate the kind words. And hey, it's awesome to have you. I think this is. I'm gonna have my son watch this because I want him thinking this way. And if you're a parent, you got teenagers, you need to have them watch this show because your teenagers need to be thinking like this guy, like Mike said, like Nate said. Unless they're going to be a nurse or something where they have to have that degree. Other than that, you're better off investing in coaching, books, and investing in a business. So we'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for family and relationships. You guys can watch this later, pass this along to friends, tweet this link, text it, email it, Facebook it. As you know, we're on iTunes and YouTube, and you can go to fuelforsuccess.tv. And we'll look forward to having our friend Nate back. Nate, what's the way people can connect with you on Twitter and Facebook, my friend? Can we put that live real quick, Mike?
yeah, sure. If you can link my Twitter link and then also to have a Facebook, and any questions you can tweet at me, and my email I'll put on it's on my Twitter. So
What's your Twitter name?
oh, it's Nate Dude 909 at Yahoo. So
Nate, dude.
They do 909.
yeah, correct.
Awesome stuff, man. Hey, one more thing. Unprotect your tweets because so many of your tweets are awesome. I try to retweet you and it don't let me. Go into your
Okay,
settings
I'll definitely do that.
unprotect it. You got to let me retweet you, buddy. You got some good tweets out
Okay,
there, man. Uh,
all right, sounds good.
awesome stuff. Well, thank you for your time, Nate. It's been valuable. We'll have you back next Thursday. And thank you guys that watch live. Mike, thank you so much. And we'll be seeing y'all tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., my friends.
God bless.
Hey,
Thanks, Nate.
God
It was
bless.
awesome.
Yep, yep. Thank you. God bless.